All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. I hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, so SPY did end up climbing higher today. So did SPY, QQQ, IWM, the Mag 7 stocks. Everything is looking juicy. I do think we're about to continue this bull train onward. All right, I think, if I had to make a call out for this video, SPY is going to hit all-time highs tomorrow. If it pulls back without hitting all-time highs, or even just tags all-time highs and pulls back, maybe fills the gap, maybe just retest 605 down here, it's going to provide a big buying opportunity. We all see what's going on here with this weekly candle. It's looking like a absolute monster over here. If we pull back next week, it is a guaranteed buy the dip opportunity. Maybe we do even get 2 weeks like that, a pullback. It's still going to be a guaranteed buy the dip opportunity. The market wants to march higher, but I can also just tell you if SPY does get to all-time highs, I imagine this thing's going to at least go up higher for a few points here. The short squeeze is happening right before our eyes. The thing looks like a freaking monster. Okay. So, before we get into any levels here, any TA, I am just telling you, the market is probably going to keep going higher. VIX, guys, we did end up pulling back here. And I told you guys to watch for, once we make a new low, 1623, then we will start watching for the market to pull back. We did put in this little spike into the end of the day here, past, 3 hours of the day. If this thing gets through 1697, I imagine that little dead cat bounce that we talked about that was possible, I think that might be happening. And I still think it is going to be sold. It's something that will create a buying opportunity in the market. Now, I'm just going to say this could very easily fade. We have a lot of hot setups going into tomorrow. Things are just looking really strong. So, this very well can, just fade back down, take out today's low, and continue coming down for that next big cycle level, which is going to be 15. All right. I mean, technically it's 16, but it's just about been hit today. And then the next stop is going to be 1550 and then 15. But yeah, just put it on your radar because it is something that we can very clearly see is starting to bounce back here right in the spot that we are watching for to get tagged, which was 1623. We were thinking once we get a low, then we can start looking for the indices to get a little pullback. And we know for a fact that pullback is going to create a buy the dip opportunity. It's not something that is going to stay down. It's something that, I personally am going to be going heavy on August calls. All right, guys, congrats if you did make money today. All right, our boy Meadow over here did finally start popping off. All right, congrats if you made money with me today.
That was easy.
It didn't really matter what expiration you had. 718 calls, guys. They went just about 100% today on that breakout. I knew 725 to 730 was right around the corner. I was saying, hey, it doesn't make sense to pull back into over here. It doesn't make sense to get this, double inside week breakout, this range breakout over here, and just boom, develop a nice upper wick on the weekly candle. Just did not make sense. Okay, like inside this range, it did not make sense. We did make sense of this though today. You gapped up almost to the high, you pulled back a little bit, and what I personally was telling the Discord, I was like, hey guys, if this thing does come back underneath yesterday's low, I think it's time to move on for the time being over here. It's time to take, we're either going to be break even or at a slight loss there. I was just going to walk away, but what happened? The thing ended up taking out the high and it exploded. Okay, it exploded. And yeah, from this point, I do think all-time highs is likely. I'm not saying it happens tomorrow, but next week, I do think we're probably going to get a pullback to start off the week. Maybe a gap down such as that, maybe a gap down such as that, or maybe it's just, it forms with a wick. I'm not really sure, but I do think there is going to be a pullback that presents itself early next week, and I am here for it, okay? So I ended up taking that bad boy off. Let's start off with the indices here. SPY, QQ, IWM. We'll go over the Mag 7 stocks, and then I got some hot stocks for you guys to pay attention to at the end of the video. Let's dive into it, okay? On the upside, guys, 613.23. That is the current all-time high. We just about hit that in the after hour. We hit 1612.82. We are off by just about 41 cents, not just about, exactly 41 cents there. So on the upside, we're just going to be watching 613.23. Above there, we have the next cycle level, which is 615, and then we have 620 above there. I don't think there's a reason really to be bearish on this market. And rather than shorting this, potential pullback that I speak of, I think we really should just be focusing on buying the dip on that. We are in an aggressive uptrend here. Do you see what's going on the monthly time frame? Okay, you hit it with the break and retest off of this previous high over here, and now we're climbing higher. Okay, it's the same exact look on the NASDAQ. This thing is about to have an explosive move, and anybody who is just calling for bearishness up here, guys, please just consider who you're taking information from. We've been spot on, you know, for the most part about, you know, we cover so many tickers on this channel every single video. And honestly, I'm going to say we have like an 80 to 90% hit rate on, you know, what we're talking about. And we have a very good gauge of what's going on in the market. You know, I put a lot of setups on your radar for you to make money. And, you know, it just so happens that, you know, almost every single one of them is starting to pop off as of today. All right. So, you know, just consider who you're taking info from. If there are people who told you to be bearish on these things, please get them off your feed. Stop, get them out of your mind. You don't need to do that. You know, these people are, you know, they're giving you information. You're doing with that information, you're making decisions to have your money involved. You don't need to be messing with people who, you know, are not serious about things. And I'm telling you, if anybody's just sitting here bearish, either they're losing their own money or they have no fucking clue what to talk about, pardon my French. Straight up. So stop listening to them. I provide you everything you need here on this channel. We do a very good job. I do my absolute best over here to, you know, guide us to make money over here in this market. And yeah, you know, you don't really need other resources. I'm going to be completely honest on that. And, you know, the more I let other people into my analysis, you know, really thought processes and take other opinions into account, the more I just, you know, find myself getting mixed up and like second guess myself. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not about that. I'm here to make fucking money. You're here to make fucking money. All right. So you can not have 5 million thoughts coming in at once. You can just focus on yourself and what you are seeing on the charts. And, you know, if you don't see anything but bullishness here, then you're thinking wrong. And you got to figure out what's going wrong there, because it's very easy to make money in this market. The market, you size down when the thing is, you know, going flat over here, because guess what? We're preparing for a big move. We're either going to get a massive buy the dip opportunity over here, or we're going to make some money on this big move up. Well, we got some money on this big move up. You got no excuse to not be making money in this market. It's a freaking hot market, and it's going to keep being a hot market. Make that money. All right, so upside 613.23 above there, 615. On the downside, we're talking 610.78, which you actually were rejecting intraday here. All right, right over there, and then you hit it with the break and retest, and then you continue climbing into end of day. All right, so on the downside, we're watching that level 610.78, 609.07, and then you got the break and retest off of 605.06. I don't think you're going to come all the way back down here. I think if you go a little bit higher, maybe you get a sharp decline, but it's probably going to get bought up here. I don't think we're coming all the way down here to the gap. Okay, I just don't think it's probable. It can happen. I don't think it's probable after, you know, the moves we're seeing right now. And, you know, I'm just going to actually jump forward over here to IWM. This thing looks like a monster. This thing looks like it wants 217 right now. You know, we got the bearish engulfing candlestick yesterday, and I point out the last 3 occurrences of that. They did lead to further downside, becoming 2 to 3 sessions at least. This time was different. All right. I said, you know, I still don't think it makes sense to not hit 217. I thought the other indices were going to keep rising as maybe IWM pulled back over here to 210. I thought it would get buyers there. Guess what? We had $3.6 million come in on 218C for 718 today, right around the open. And from that point, we knew this thing was probably just going to be bid straight freaking up. You know, this thing it's going. There's someone who put on a big bet over here. You know, as we could see, the market is very bullish right now. And IWM actually, after the bearish engulfing candlestick, was the strongest of the bunch today. You're approaching the 200 DMA over 215.93. We're talking 217. All right, now coming back over here to SPY, downside levels, we'll cover them one more time for you. 610.78, 609.07, 605.06, 603.41, 601.75, and then the glorious gap fill down there at 654. I don't think we're going to contest down here, but if we do, it's going to be a daily 21 EMA test, and it's a buy the dip opportunity. But like I discussed in yesterday's video, we slowly climbed up here and then pulled back into the range. You know, you had pretty much flat action for 3 weeks. made slight higher highs over here, and then you know, pretty much were flat. Like, this isn't much for a whole 3 weeks of time right here. It's really not. All right, and now we're, you know, I was thinking we were probably finally going to get this impulsive move here. And I think it can call for, you know, a few weeks of upside here. If we get a pullback to start off next week, I think it is something that's going to be bought. All right, so I'm here for it. You're here for it. We're here to make fucking money. Pardon my French, but we are here to make fucking money. And I hope you guys are killing it. I'll hit this for all of us.
That was easy.
Damn straight. All right, damn straight. Moving on over here to the NASDAQ, QQQ. Well, guys, you continue climbing higher today, and now we have a high of day to watch of 546.67. This thing did climb slightly higher in the after hours. SPY is the one that, you know, still is not at all-time highs, but I'm saying 550 is coming next. That is the next cycle level to watch over here on QQQ. If we pull back, it's clearly a buying opportunity. Same thing as SPY, except this bad boy is even stronger. Daily RSI is now just about at 70. I think we could have, you know, 1 to 2 more sessions of upside, but I do think we're probably going to pull back sooner rather than later. And that dip is probably going to be bought. Maybe it's something like that, just a 2-day little pullback. Let's see, you know, how much we actually came down. Only 1%, guys. Imagine falling 1% from here. We're revisiting the previous all-time high. Nothing to be bearish on over here. Anybody who is, you know, really bearish, it is someone you should consider not following along with because they don't know what they're doing, or they, you know, are stuck in tilt trading right now and they're losing all their money. I don't really know which one it is, but I'll tell you right now, there's not really a reason to do so. Okay. On the upside, 546.67, today's high, and then 550. On the downside, 543.31, previous all-time high at 540.81. Then if that does not hold, we're watching 536.78. Again, I think it's very unlikely, first of all, that we even come all the way down here. Second of all, that we come down here to fill that gap, 532.17. People are going to be targeting the gap, guys. It can happen, okay? But expect it to be something like that within a few sessions. Probably going to, you know, get bought back up. If we do get something drastic down to the 21 EMA, all right, and let's just say we're sitting right here, okay? Look for at least this bounce back into the golden pocket, and we'll see what goes. You know, that's what happened over here. Just like that, you bounce right into the golden pocket, and then you sold, and then you could have actually tracked the next golden pocket over here. And then boom, you bounce back into the golden pocket, and then boom, you finally came all the way back up here. And it took some time, all right? And honestly, I hope we get this market because that means we're going to get a bunch of buy the dip opportunities. You get to take profits, guys. These are explosive moves that I'm guessing happen on individual tickers. Like this, the index. Imagine what happened on these individual tickers, just getting pullbacks to, you know, key moving averages, the key, you know, breaking retest level, just the key areas of interest. And then boom, you get a few days of solid upside action. You get to take your profits. And then boom, you know, if you're being a smart trader, you could just wait it out. All right. And you wait for your next opportunity. That's why, you know, today I decided to take off Meta over there. I actually did add more Amazon over here. So we're going to be going over that chart. But I do think Amazon and Google are the next Mag 7 stocks to rip a Rooney on us. That is what I'm thinking. All right, but that is what you're watching over there on QQ. Like I said, VIX did end up finding buyers today. It started bouncing right off of 1623. You swept that and started finding buyers. So that is something to keep in mind here. If we come back into 1880, we are just like yesterday. We're expecting it to be sold, expecting a dead cat bounce. We're not expecting anything crazy. Like I said, IWM is looking immaculate over here. It's getting up to 217, probably honestly tomorrow. Breakthrough 215.93, we're talking 217.618 fib right there, comes real quick. And then we have 220.67 where you broke down from over here. Okay, it's IWM. As far as Mag 7 stocks, we'll go over the Mags ETF, guys. Heavy volume today. Daily RSI is still not overbought yet. I think 55.83 is still incoming. I know it's taking a little time here, but I still think it's coming. Meta. All right, like I was saying, I end up taking mine off today. I took off this Friday's calls as well as the July 18 750s. All right. And, you know, I do think we are probably going to get a buy the dip opportunity next week. And then that dip takes us up to all-time highs. If we go a little bit higher tomorrow, it is heavily possible that we go straight to 740.91 and then maybe hit 745, 750 tomorrow intraday. All right. Look at it this way. This thing could very easily have 15 to 20 point moves intraday. So if you gap over here, you know, you're coming straight to highs. That's Meta. We're looking to buy the dip if it happens. I don't think you're coming all the way back down here, though. I think it's going to be something like, hang on, there we go. Something like these where, you know, this is Monday where you did end up gapping down over here. Okay. And then the next Monday was right over here where you did get down again. Like if we get these opportunities, they're buying opportunities because we are in this mode right now. It just started breaking out. All right. Just started. And, you know, I think it's very likely to continue. That's Meta. Amazon, guys, big bull flag going on over here. Break above 218.40. That brings 220. And then 225 likely comes quickly after. Okay. Look at how this weekly candle is shaping up over here. Amazon loves hitting it with the 1-2. And when you get a reversal kind of setup like that, it makes me think we have this week right around the corner. This is a 20-point week. I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but I am looking for a 10 to 20-point week next week, and we're going to fucking bank off of it. I hope you guys are in on it. You know, this thing looks like it wants to explode. With or without the market, this thing looks like it's going to be a good mover. Pullbacks are buying opportunities. I honestly don't know if we're going to get one. I don't. I think this thing could go pretty quick starting tomorrow. So that's Amazon. Coming over to Google. You got above the spot today, guys. I told you, daily close above the 200 DMA. That was at 173.60. All right. You did actually sell off our 172.91 level today. Well, you sold down through it, and then you started getting rejected in this area over there. And then, boom, you flip back over it, and you closed out the day really strong. Okay. This is probably going a lot higher. This is probably coming up to 183.63 over the probably next week. All right. Look how the weekly candle is forming, guys. This is a very sexy break and retest setup going on here. And I think Google is just going to warm up. I think we see 183.63. And we have a chance of seeing 188.71 in the same week. It's looking real nice. And I think a big move is loading over here on Google. So, you know, I'm personally, you know, what I'm focusing on right now as far as Mag 7 stocks is Amazon and Google. Started taking off Meta when, you know, when you're in, you know, 80 to 100%, you really got no business, you know, not starting to take that off, at least taking some profits. You can leave on some runners, but, you know, my move was, hey, let's wait for the pullback, wait for the next setup to arise over there on Meta. We already nailed this one. We got the breakout we were looking for. I was targeting 725 to 730. We got the day. 725 is around, you know, 725, 727 is where I really started taking all of those off. But, you know, over here on Google and Amazon, I think these are things that are probably going to rip up next week. So, you know, I ended up adding some size into these today. And, yeah, I think these are looking really freaking pretty. I think they're about to shine. They're living asses off, especially Amazon. Like, just look at how this thing is setting up for us. This is a very sexy, you know, it's kind of a break and retest over the short-term moving average over here. Like, you know, you had to get the big gap above them. You spent a lot of time just basing out above them. I think you're about to break out, like a big breakout over here. This is a base that took a month and a half to build out, and I think we could see a quick shot up to 225, 230, probably next week. All right, so I'm for it. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but honestly, even if you don't move anywhere tomorrow, it would be ideal. All right, and then you hit it with one of these guys next week, or maybe it's just one of these guys next week. Either way, we're looking for a big move. Okay, and you know, even that was a 14-point move from the close over there. You know, normally when we get these very tight setups, you do end up over the next few weeks, you have quite a rip over there from where you're breaking out from. And this is 218.40. We're going quick up here, guys. All right. So GOOG, Amazon, they're a focus for me. NVIDIA, guys, people could try and short this thing. I think you're doing something real stupid. Okay. You know, even if you make money on it, I'm just going to be completely honest. This is the thing leading the market right now. It can pull back. I'm not telling you can't, but why the heck are you trying to short the leader? It's an aggressive uptrend. You're here to make money. Stop being stupid. All right. Smack yourself in the face a little bit. Stop being stupid. All right. I'm not calling anybody stupid. I'm telling you right now, your decision-making process makes absolutely no sense. You're trying to short strength. And I'm not telling you, you know, it's not going to pull back. It probably is going to pull back for all we know. Okay. But why didn't you make money on the big move up? Why are you going to try and flip-flop back and forth? Just wait to get your buying opportunity. It's at least my style. I have a much better time doing so. And you don't have to go back and forth flip-flopping all the time. I feel like you're just going to mess up your psychology. Why aren't you just going to take your profits on the move, and then wait for the, the little pullback to buy back in if you want. You don't have to be short in the strongest thing in the market right now. I think people make no sense sometimes, but I know people are going to do it. I just hope I can influence some people in a positive direction over here to stop losing your money. Okay? Real talk. You're here to make money. Don't do something that you know is against the trend. We talked about this, I think, in yesterday's video. Just don't do it. I told you guys not to be shorting. Why? Because you're prematurely shorting. Also, it's an aggressive uptrend. The market shows you when it wants to break down. In reality, up until the most recent crash over here, you have made higher low on the weekly time frame every single pullback. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. You finally died. You hit it with the break and retest right over there. You could have taken the beautiful short opportunity if you wanted to. All right, but let's look at it that way. You're back to making the higher lows. You could have shorted all of these and you were having maybe a good time for a few weeks there, but I'm going to be completely honest. The big money was made on buying the pullbacks. Okay, and you could short these. But guys, we just had a pullback. We had consolidation for like a month and a half. It was a very slow movement. And then boom, we have 2 weeks. 2 weeks right there of doing absolutely nothing. And now we're exploding above it. I think we got a little more in the tank over here. Don't do anything stupid. All right? Just my personal opinion. Coming over here to Microsoft. Strongest of the bunch is still continuing to lead the way. All right? It's almost at that 500 psychological level. I'm pretty sure it's going to get it. And once it gets it, maybe it pulls back or at least consolidates, reverts to the mean over here. You're pretty expended. These past few days, you haven't tested the 5 EMA. Notice how every 3 sessions, at least 3 sessions here, you got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 sessions. You're testing the 5 EMA. Well, now we have 1, 2, 3. Let's see what happens. Okay? It's Microsoft. Apple, don't touch it. You got no business touching it. It's not going anywhere. Don't worry, you're not missing out. If it starts exploding upwards, it's probably just the start of a move, considering all the consolidations happen. You don't have to get in before the move, just wait for it to move. If it starts breaking down, I know it's sexy. Okay, you want to catch a short, but you don't need to catch it right away. Again, all this consolidation, all this compression, it's going to lead to a larger move. That first day it happens, it's just going to be a signal. And then you can make a decision off that signal. But you don't have to catch it before. You got no business trading this thing right here. Tesla, you also got no business trading this bad boy right over here. It's a little troll in the water over here. You don't need to be messing with it. Anybody who bought this day, you're completely underwater. All right. There's no share buyers over here, especially options. You got shat on, but there's nobody who bought shares over here that is in profit right now, which means it's a trap. And, I'm going to be completely honest. You don't know what's going to happen over here. I don't think it's a short. I definitely don't think it's a buy. I think you're waiting until it breaks over 367.71 and then you could touch it. I just wouldn't be shorting it. All right. But that's Tesla. Now let's come over here to Henry's trade ideas. Number 1 is going to be crowd. I put this on your radar the past few sessions, especially yesterday. I told you guys it started breaking out above 491.20. Guess what? All right. You broke above yesterday's high at 541 today, and you're at 505. I think 510 to 520 is incoming in the short term. But just look at this weekly candle. This thing is just starting to explode upwards. I have to assume any dips are going to act as buying opportunities. And that's how you can be making your money over here on this ticker. That's crowd. Next one is going to be Oracle. I think it's getting ready to hit it with the 1-2. You got the 1. Let's hit it with that second wind. All right. You see what's going on over here on the daily time frame. Break above 216.60. I think this thing hits 225, 230 pretty quick over here. Uber. Congrats if you ended up taking this one. I was literally pointing out the Discord. I was like, I want to buy. I want to take half position right here. We'll take half if it pulls back more. It was at 91 bucks this morning. It ended up rocketing up to new all-time highs today. I missed the boat over here. It is what it is. Okay, you can't catch them all. I'll tell you right now, dips are buying opportunities, and I still think this is going higher, 95 to 100 in the short term. AVGO. It's go time, baby. You got above 269.87. You closed above 270. I think 275 to 280 is incoming in the short term. All right, dips are buying opportunities. Look at how the weekly candle is setting up. Breaking out from 4 weeks of consolidation, 3 weeks of consolidation here underneath previous all-time highs. It's likely going to lead to another few, up weeks there. Maybe you got a really big day tomorrow and then you pull back. It's possible. Okay, and the pullback presents a buying opportunity, but personally, I'm in this bad boy. We're in this bad boy. And yeah, I mean, the setup was very obviously there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I wouldn't be buying it right now. I just wouldn't. You had a chance to buy it lower. And now it's going. And yeah, I think the move is just take profits, 275, 280. But I think 280, 290 is coming next week. All right. That's AVGO. PayPal. All right. PayPal ended up, putting this nice, this Dragonfly Doji kind of candlestick over here off of the daily 21 after flipping the cloud back to bullish. Above 74.15, this goes straight to 76.70. And then 79 bucks is going to be the 0.618 fib. You see where I have my arrow drawn. This is, about a 2-month base here. A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, 6, 7 weeks. 1.75 months right there. It's been consolidating above 74.15. It can go. SMCI. It started freaking going. I'm out. Unfortunately, I'm out. But this thing is probably going to go. Above 50.61, we're talking 56.19 and then 67.10, guys. It's looking pretty nutty. All right, pretty nutty. SOFI, it's going. It's a ripping. Dips are buying opportunities over the coming weeks. I think you are in this breakout sequence right here, just before it actually broke out. I think you're in these beginning stages, and I think this is probably going to continue heating up. I think every little, pullback over here, every 2 to 3 pullback, 2 to 3 day pullback is probably going to be eaten up. Wait for your setup to form. You could rock with it, lean with it, rock with it. When you got to stop with it. The thing is just have an increasing volume as it's increasing in price. Buyers are supporting this move. Volume is not going to lie to you. And yeah, I think above 17.17, this thing has 18.42, a date with 18.42. All right, it's looking so sexy, so fine. Won't you take a bite of mine? All right, and with that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you would like to come trade with me and you would like to crush this hot market with us, we'll be doing so every day. I stream every day, and every week I'll work. We have the full intention of catching this hot market and making our freaking money. All right, if you want to join me on that, link will be down below. And with that being said, please leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. That is all I ask. It's just help me grow this channel. That being said, I'll catch y'all in the next one. Everybody have a lovely rest of your night, and peace.